Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Winley. Good morning. So I'm a bit early, so we have a couple more minutes. So I just kind of wait until 11 o'clock. So we have a few more minutes. Good morning. Hi, Jalen. I haven't seen you. I'm glad you joined. Let's see. All right, so we have 2 more minutes, and I'll get started. You guys want to comment below and let me know how you're doing? Thank you, Jalen. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. How have you been, Jalen? Let's see. Good morning. So we have 2 more minutes. So I'll wait till a couple more people join in so we can get started with week 6. Good morning. Hi, Kelly. Good morning. Amaje's mom, good morning. Good morning. That's good, Jalen. I'm glad. I'm so glad. I haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. All right, so we have 1 more minute. So I will wait. While we're waiting for 1 minute, I did put the do now. Good morning. I did put the do now. I posted the do now. So we'll start with our do now. So we have 1 minute left. And then we'll get started. And if you guys could please put your first and last name, send me a DM so that I can keep track of who all is here, so that you all can get credit for being in our live this morning. So please inbox me your first and last names. And we still have 1 minute left. Well, it's 11 o'clock. So we will go ahead and get started with today's lesson. So welcome to week 6, and I'm glad that you all are here. So now I'm going to flip the screen over so that you guys can see what we're doing for today. All right, so let me start with the do now, which I already posted. So here is the do now. So the do now says, what is positive space? So you all are free to comment in the comment box, and you can also, if you want to, you can use the box with the exclamation mark. So if you have a question or if you want to answer it that way, you may do so. Good morning, Miss McGill. So this is our do now. What is positive space? So I'll just wait for a few minutes for those to respond before we move on. Good morning. Good morning. So the do now is, what is positive space? So before we get started, I need you all to be engaged. Good morning. And answering our questions so that I can give you credit and give you live school points for participating in our live session. So you're just not here, you guys are actually engaged, okay? So the question is for the do now, what is positive space? A positive space is where you express your feelings, okay? But I'm looking for, so we know that we know space is one of the elements of art. Positive space is space where nothing bad happens. Yes. All right. Anybody else? Good morning, Miss Proctor. Good morning. Good morning. What is positive space? So space is one of the 7 elements of art. Line, shape, color, space. Those are your elements of art. So I'm want to get maybe another person to answer what is positive space for our do now. Good morning to those who are just now joining in. If you guys can please send me a message after the session with your first and last name so that I can count you in for attendance this morning. All right. What is positive space? Anybody? What is positive space? One more person. Shapes within an artwork and negative space is the space around it. Absolutely, Jalen. That is correct. Yes. So I'll read it one more time. What he said is shapes within artwork and negative space is the space around it. Someone else says that positive space. Oh, they didn't answer it. But Jalen, that is very good. Let me give you that's for Jalen. Very good. All right. So positive space is the space in a work of art that is taken up. And we'll talk about negative space, but that's what positive space is. So I'll show you guys as we move on in our lesson today. I will show you and give you guys examples of what exactly positive space looks like in your artwork. Okay. So I'm going to go and scroll up. This is week 6. Today we are talking about positive versus negative space. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020, and our class is from 11 o'clock a.m. to 11:45 a.m. And I am, of course, Miss Henderson. And we are going to get started. Before we get started, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment so that I can answer your questions for everybody, okay? All right, so welcome to Distance Learning Week 6. We are already at Week 6. So last week was the closure of our art conflict books. So you all should have turned those in. If not, I would greatly appreciate it if you would still have the opportunity to turn those in so you all can get credit. But today is Week 6, and from Week 6 to Week 8, we will be working on a new lesson. All right. All right, so we just went over our do now. So what will we cover today in today's class? We're talking about positive and negative space. All right, so the summary. Students will study the techniques of creating negative space in art. This will develop into students creating negative space trading cards. So at the end, think about week 8, you guys are going to create trading cards using negative space. Artists trading cards are a small and accessible way to share your art with others. Students will trade their cards via mail, or you can do it virtually with your other classmates. So at the end of this particular lesson, you guys are going to trade in your artwork, which will be in the form of like a little trading cards. And you guys know what a trading card is about, maybe about that big. Okay. All right, so the week breakdown, this lesson actually goes to week 9. So I think I said week 8, but I apologize. So we are here at week 6. So week 6, we're talking about positive and negative space. Next week, we will be talking about further development between positive and negative space. Week 8, you all are going to start doing your artist trading cards and introductions. And good morning, Leah. And week 9, we are going to do the final project for the artist trading card. So this is a breakdown of what this particular unit will look like for the next 4 weeks. All right. And if anybody has any questions, again, please feel free to comment below. All right. So positive versus negative space. There is a difference. So we know that space is anything that's taken up on not just a sheet of paper, because we just don't do art on paper, but also a canvas, or whatever it is that you are creating the artwork on. So positive space refers to the main focus of a picture. So the first thing that you see when you look at a piece of art, that will be the positive space. While the negative space refers to the background. So anything that is in the background of a picture will, of course, be the negative space, because that space was not taken up. So when used in art, positive and negative space both come together to tell a story using visual composition by itself. All right. Anybody have any questions about positive versus negative space? So they're both space, but one is positive, one is negative in the artwork. Okay. So I posted this picture yesterday, and this is a great example of positive and negative space. So, what do you see in the two pictures? Well, I'm just gonna zoom in so you guys can see it, and then I'll elaborate. It's okay, Liz. Thank you for being here. So, what do you see I'm going to focus it on this one. What do you see in the picture? Anybody? What do you see? This is a great example of how to utilize positive and negative space in an image. Two people looking at each other in their eyes. Two faces, yes. Two heads, yes. Two faces, yes. So it looks like most people see faces. Okay? Yes, it's like a reflection. They are not in the positive space, but we're going to go, you will see. I'll elaborate on it. Okay? But yes, there are two faces, but two faces in a candle holder. Yes. Okay, great job. Great job. All right. So what do you see in the two pictures? So we just, and Chana says she sees both. I see both as well, but I'll elaborate on it. So what do you see in two pictures? The black is a vase. Well, the black is a vase, right? And the white are two faces. Now you will practice creating your own, which you'll just look at it. But if you look at these three, they're actually the same, right? But the only difference is that this part right here will be considered the negative space. The white area is considered the negative space. So if you just kind of focus in on this part, which is the black part, it does look like a candle holder or like a vase, if you can see it, right? So this is the negative space in the background. Anytime you think of negative space, it's the space in the background. And the positive space is what the viewer sees. So the viewer will see this piece right here, which is in black, which would be the vase. All right. But if you flip over here and this one, this part right here will still be considered, this would be considered positive. And even though it's in the background, it's because it's the part that's in color. And then this, which would have been the candle holder, well, the candle holder or the vase, this would just be that space. So this is the negative space, and then these two would be the positive space. So then that's when you have two people looking at each other, the faces. You got it? So it's the same picture. It's just how the difference between the positive space is utilized in each picture. All right. And so I just explained it. You have your positive space and then your negative space. So great job for those who answered. All right. So this is actually a work of art that was created by a famous artist, and his name was Robin. So Robin's vase emphasizes negative space. In the middle of the composition, there is a symmetry. So if you look at it, we know that symmetry, if you were to take, I don't have a ruler. I should have brought a ruler. Let me see something. Symmetry means if you were to take a ruler, I don't have a ruler, but I have a sheet of paper. And if you were to put it in the center, that's symmetry because both sides are the same. So it's a little math as well. And so that's what also helps give it the illusion, because if the vase was maybe somewhere further over on the side of the paper, it wouldn't be symmetry. But since it's in the center and you can equally divide it into two parts, that makes it equal. All right, so that's symmetry. So portraits of people appear on either side of the vases. We talked about that. The curves of the pot create the illusion of a forehead. So this is the curved part. If you're looking at it as the vase, and if you're looking at it as the head, that would be the curved part of the forehead. And then this one would be the formation of the curves of the vase. All right. So also the forehead, the nose, and the mouth. So if we go back and look at it, that would be the nose, and that would be the mouth, and that would be the chin. But if you look at it from this one, then this would be just the curves and the size of the face. All right. So while the negative space itself has no defining details, the hard edges of the vase and the contrast of the vessel to the rest of the image activate the area and allow your mind to fill in the blanks. So it's sort of kind of like it's like an illusion type of art. Because one side of your brain can see one picture and the other can see another picture. All right. All right. So here I just have a couple other examples of positive and negative space. Anybody want to, yes, Liz, you should have the packet for this. This starts week 6. So does anybody want to guess which area is the positive space and which area is the negative space? And I'll give you guys a few minutes just to kind of look at it, and then you can start answering. Anybody? I see the white animal. Okay. But is the white animal positive space or negative space? Yeah, the dog. It's a dog. And not only that, do you see anything else besides just the dog? You see negative space. Yes, it's both positive and negative space in the artwork. So it's actually both. The black is the positive space and the white is the negative space. The cat is negative. Yes. You can pick up I'll tell you offline about the pickups of the packet. Yes, and there's also a cat, right? So there's a dog and it's a cat. There is both. But if you're looking at just the dog, here would be the negative space, and then the cat would be the positive space. So does everybody see like the cat? So it's kind of more like an illusion drawing, because if you don't see the cat, then it kind of just looks like there's the dog's mouth, and then there's his teeth, maybe his tongue, and then the bottom part of his mouth. Right? So when you're dealing with positive and negative space, it's an illusion drawing. So you really kind of see two things. All right? Great job. Here is another one. This is another example of positive and negative space. What do you see in this picture? Anybody see it? Anybody see the image? I'll give you a few minutes just to kind of look at it. Yes, they're hugging. So in this one, this is two animals, maybe a bear. I would probably say a bear, that are hugging. All right. So you have your positive space and then you have your negative space. The two animals are hugging. Yes. Two bears hugging. Yes. Thank you, guys. I love the participation. I see them want to hug, but the white one is in the middle. Yes. So we know that the background, even though we know that this is a bear, because you can see like the formation of his arms and his hands, it still takes up the background, right? So this actually will be positive space because it's taking it up, and then the white one will be negative space. All right. This is one more. This is the last example. But what do you guys see in this one? Anybody? What do you see? This time the negative space is in this is the background. I'm sorry, this is the positive space and this is the negative space. So a man's face and a wolf. Yes, China, you're absolutely right. A wolf in someone's head. Yes. All right. Yes. So anything that is not taken up, any space that's not taken up at all, well, the space that is taken up is your positive space. So the space that's not taken up, always remember that that's the negative space. So you all remember, like, you could, an easy way to remember is, when we're in class and you all are creating your art projects, and I always say, do not leave any negative space, which means do not leave any white space. But for these are actually illusion type of drawings that are we're actually focused on negative and positive space. So this type of art will be different. I wouldn't say don't leave any negative space on this type of art, because of the topic of what we're talking about, because we're talking about two different types of space. Okay. And if you all have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I know this is lengthy. In a few minutes, I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can watch me create my positive and negative space, but we're going to get through this first. Now we will practice creating your own negative space and image, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it, but I'll tell you all what I'm going to do first, and then I'll do it. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is grab a small, medium-sized object that you can draw with comfort. So you do not have to worry about if you don't know how to draw for this assignment. It's quite all right. All right. You can you can draw a pair of scissors. You can draw shapes. You can draw forms. It doesn't matter. All right. You're going to draw an outline of the object, then draw a line halfway down your drawing. On one half, you will fill in positive space on your item, and then the other half in the background, you will use negative space. You're going to look at your image and identify how the positive and negative space change the look of the image. Okay. So I pre-did this so you guys can see. I'm actually going to do this when I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can kind of see me do it. But this is very, very simple. This is an example. Oh, a wolf and a boy girl. Thank you so much. Yes. So this is kind of like my example. Is so simple and very easy, but this is a great example of positive and negative space. It's not a specific image like the other ones that I showed you guys, but it doesn't have to be. Like, you can literally like draw, shapes, forms, geometric shapes. It doesn't have to be an actual thing. It could be an abstract form of negative and positive space, and that's exactly what this one is, because it's not an actual image per se. Okay, but if you look at it, I'll show you how I did it, but I utilized positive and negative space in this piece. Okay, so remember, anything that is white is your negative space. Anything that's black is taking it up. It is your positive space. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over and I'm going to show you guys how I created this. All right. Very simple, so that you all can do it at home. You don't need anything much but a couple of materials. Okay. So I cut my paper. You don't have to use this large paper. I cut mine so it won't take as long, but you can just use any type of copy paper. You can do a character, Liz, if you want. Yes, it could be a character. It could be whatever you want. But I'm just going to do an abstract one just because it's quick and easy. All right. So take a sheet of paper and you're going to fold it in half. Just like that. And then you're going to fold it again. So when you open it up, you will have 4 boxes. right? I got a little bit of crayon on here. But you'll have 4 boxes. So then you'll take a Sharpie. I'm just telling you guys the way I did mine. You don't have to do yours just like mine, but I'm just showing you. Then I took a Sharpie. And I probably should flip the camera so you can see what I'm doing, but I'll flip it back. And on the lines that you folded, you are on those crease, then you'll just draw the outline, right? So you'll draw an outline kind of like a cross on your paper, all right? So what you're going to do now, you can just draw organic shapes, and we all know that organic shapes, yes, Liz, if you want to do a whole body, you can do a whole body. Absolutely. But organic shapes are not your geometric shapes. Organic shapes are freeform shapes, which is shapes like this. These are not geometric, all right? But I do have a couple of geometric, like the circle and the square, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw geometric and freeform shapes. So start it off like that, and then I'm going to draw some on the sides. So I'm going to draw a couple of geometric shapes and freeform shapes like this. Very simple. All right. So then, you could use this is the only marker I have, so I'm not going to use a marker because it dries, and I don't want it to dry out. But I'm going to use a black crayon. That's all you need. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine if the first box is positive or negative space, right? So this is the negative space and the background is the positive space, all right? So what I'm going to do is just color the background black. I'm not going to do this whole thing because I know you guys don't want to sit here and watch me color the entire thing, but I'll just kind of scribble a little bit just so you can kind of get a better understanding. And you guys, when you do yours, please do not scribble. You know, Miss Henderson likes nice, neat artwork all the time. Nice, neat. All right, so I'm going to go now and I'm going to color it all the way in, right? So while I'm doing this, I want you guys to kind of think about, yes, I will post the notes at the end of this live session. Oh, you want to watch? I really should have the camera flipped the other way so you can see what I'm doing. But I'll show you. So you all can kind of think about what it is that you want to do for your negative and positive space drawing. If you kind of want to do a practice one first, you can do so. And this one will be more so than for practice anyway, because the one that you're going to turn in is going to be, they're going to be small, like trading cards. So you're going to actually have a couple of them, right? So you can do what I'm doing just to show you guys and give you an example of how you create positive and negative space. All right, so Miss Henderson usually does some great art, but this is just an example, okay? So you won't color the pieces in that are the positive space. You're only coloring in, the negative space. You're only coloring in positive space. So on this one is supposed to be this one, but I took my time on this one. But the next one, if you look at this one, I flipped it. So instead of the background being black over here, you switch it and it'll be white. So this piece will not be white on this side, it will be black. All right, somebody wants me to explain mine. So mine is abstract. And abstract is a work of art that doesn't have a particular subject. So like the one that I showed you with the bears and the man with the boy face and the wolf and the vase, and the two heads, those have a subject because you can make out realistically what they are. But this one will be abstract. So abstract is kind of like, for those who may not know art terms, abstract is a piece of art that doesn't make sense. So literally, if you've seen any artists like take paint and take their paintbrush and dip it in paint and just kind of splatter, that is abstract art because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have a particular subject. So that's the same thing that I'm doing here. So, it may be students who may not be able to draw as well as they would like to, or, all of them, you all are great. But I'm just saying you don't have to have a particular subject. It could be an abstract form just like this for a practice. All right, so that's why. But it's a great way to show you the difference between negative and positive space. Anything that's taken up in the background will be positive. Anything that is up in the foreground here area will be negative. All right, this would be the actual positive space. That would be the negative space. All right, so just kind of think of it maybe as the white being negative and everything that's filled in will be positive. Any questions? All right. So I'm actually going to do this one just so you all can see kind of like live what I'm doing. And then at the bottom, it would just be flipped the other way like this one. All right. And so those who just joined, this is very easy. You just take a sheet of copy paper. Only thing you need is a marker and crayons. If you want to use other colors, you can. Most times when you're talking about positive and negative space, is black and white, but you can definitely use other colors. But if you do that, you can't have multiple colors. So if you want more than one color, just do two. All right, no more than two, but you can definitely keep it just black and white. All right, so I'll do the other one real quick. And then while I'm doing that, if anybody has any questions, let me know. If you have any questions. So I will just elaborate. When is it due? So Liz, this is more so like a practice since we're just starting this unit. So today, this weekend, this week, you can practice your own negative and positive space drawing just so you can visually get an understanding of how it's done. And then next week, we'll kind of move on with expanding our lesson with negative and positive space. But ultimately, what you're going to turn in for week 8 will be the trading cards. And if you all want to, you can definitely go on Google and utilize and type in negative and positive drawings. There are lots of examples. And, in class, I don't mind you guys, how we use my computer or whatever resources we have to go in and get inspired. You definitely can do that. So that would be an example of how the spaces are different and how when you bring the picture together, it looks like this. All right. So does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about negative and positive space? Since we have time, I am going to finish it. But I highly encourage you guys to go ahead and get started. So this one. So now that I'm going to move over to this one, anybody, what color? What would this be? Anybody want to guess? What color would this one be? Would I leave it white or would I color in these black? Anybody? So if I left the objects here white and I colored the background black, what color am I going to color the background here? And what color is this one going to be? White. Yes. So this part will be black. The objects or the freeform shapes or geometric shapes will be black. And then the background will be white. Okay. So I'll show you. And so if you are confused, you can literally take a sheet of paper and something simple will be like a heart. And you can color one side of the heart black, and then the other side, the background could be white, and then the inside of the other heart on the other side is black, and then the opposite side will be white. All right, so see, that is my positive space. This one is my negative space. All right. And then since this one is white here in the background, what color background would this one be? Anybody? What color would the background be here? Anybody? Anybody? So if we have two negative spaces here, and then you have your, yes, China, thank you, black. So the background would be black. So it's really just kind of alternating your colors is really basically what this is. And that is pretty much what you're doing. You're utilizing, yes, black. Black is correct. Black is the color that I'm coloring the background now. Yes. And then that means that the objects are going to be white. And when you do your practice drawing, a good way to kind of start off is the way that I started mine by folding it in half. It just kind of makes it easier. And when when you create your drawing, you don't have to worry about a ruler or anything because you can use the lines that are from the crease. Hold on, guys. I know you don't want to sit here and watch me color. I'm not doing the best right now, but I just wanted to show you how it will look. Yes, 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 black. All right, so I just kind of did it so you all can see. All right, so that's just an example of how to use positive and negative space in abstract. Now I'm going to flip it back over. And then going back to these of course are more of a subject. So it has a particular subject. So the subject will be the wolf, and then the subject will be the male's head. Okay. This one has a subject. The subject will be the bears hugging each other, but the actual subject are the bears. And then this one has a subject as well. It's this wolf's head, and then the cat. All right. So again, I will let you decide for your practice one. What do you want to do? Do you want to do an abstract one like I did, or something that has an actual subject? Okay. So what I want you all to do over the course of this week is to create your own as a practice one, and DM me a picture of yours so I can see who all is engaged and who's doing it. And then when we come back together on next Tuesday, we'll kind of I'll show the examples that I got throughout the week so that we can discuss them and talk a little bit more about positive and negative space. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Anybody want me to elaborate a little bit more? Does everybody understand the difference? Everybody understand the difference. Going back to this one, we know that this one is your positive space. It's the space that is taken up by the object, and then this one is your negative space. All right. Why? Because the background here is negative because it's not taken up. Right? And the background here, this is positive because the background is taken up by a color. All right. Same picture, exact same thing. It's just the colors are flipped. So think of it as just alternating your colors. That's just the easiest way for you guys to understand it. Everybody has it. I see yes. I see yep, got it. Okay. I'm glad you guys got it. So for next week, that will be week 7. We're going to talk about more of further developing your understanding of positive and negative space and developing those skills. All right. Okay, great. We understand. Yes. So what I'm going to do, if you want to go back and look at this, then you can. I will post this on my page so that you guys can kind of go back and look at it. And I'll also add the images so you can get an understanding. But please utilize your technology. Type in positive and negative space images. Let me see something. So if you go to Google and type in positive and negative space art, what I do, kind of an easy way to just kind of look at some, just go to images. There's the face we just did. There it is again. So just kind of, there's the bears. Just kind of go in and Google it. This one is nice. All right. This one is really nice. But just kind of Google. See, utilizing positive and negative space. Negative space. This one is positive space. So kind of go on Google. This one is the butterfly. Very simple. Which side is this? Is this negative? Only this side. Is this negative or positive? For this, where's my little? I'll use this. Is this the on the right side, the background, is this negative space or is this positive space? Anybody? What? Yes, thank you, China. This is negative space. And then on this side, that is your positive space because the background is taken up. All right. So yes, that's negative space. So it's just super easy to remember. Yes, that whatever is white, whenever the background is white, is negative because it's not taken up. It's not utilized. Right. It's just kind of like drawing a picture of a tree and then you have all this white space that is negative. But when you fill it up, duh. Okay, so there's a picture of a tree, right? So when this is of course your negative space. So it's kind of like taking a blank sheet of paper and just drawing this tree just like this one. All this would be negative space. But if we weren't really talking about negative and positive space, if we were just creating maybe a painting, let's say we were creating a painting and I told you guys to draw a tree, right? And if you just drew the tree and you left all of this background white, that's your negative space. But if we were creating a painting, then I would tell you to take it up. So what you could do is you could paint it. You could paint it blue. You could paint your sky maybe like a sunset where you have yellow, orange colors, or maybe it's at nighttime, you have maybe purple and blue mixed together. You will be taking up your negative space. It will no longer be negative if it was colored, right? But since it's not, it's not positive, so it's negative because it's not taken up. All right. But the tree is positive, but the background is negative. So going back to this one, China, you all are absolutely right. This is your negative space on this side of the butterfly because it is not taken up. And then this one over here will be your positive space on this side because it is taken up. All right. But if you covered this up, then the whole thing would be positive space. All right. So, but yeah, just go on Google and type in negative and positive space. The zebra one is pretty cool. Same image. So you got to remember you're using the same image. You're not, when you fold your paper up in half, you're not drawing two different things. It has to be the same exact image. All right. But this one is just showing you this one is the negative space. That one is the positive space. There's that example I showed you guys. There's that one. Here's this one with a cat, right? It's not a solid background, but this background is actually positive and then the cat is negative. But if it was switched and the cat was in this color right here, then the cat would be positive and the background will be negative. All right. So just so you guys kind of get a thorough understanding. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? All right, so we have 3 more minutes. I'm going to go back to our presentation. If you just joined us, we are wrapping up weeks. Well, today we're on week 6, but we're wrapping up our lesson from week 6. All right, so we're talking about positive and negative space. We did a breakdown on what positive and negative space is. I told you guys the ultimate goal, what you're going to do, what you're going to create by week 8, which are those trading cards. And I broke up what we're doing so you all can know what we're doing for the next couple of weeks. It will be the same lesson, the same topic, but I just kind of broke it up on so you guys kind of know what to look forward to, what we're doing all the way up until week 9, which is the final project. All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right. So if you got it, then that is awesome. If anybody has any questions, again, you guys can always inbox me for questions. So I want you guys to kind of think about what you're going to do. And when we come back together on Tuesday, we're going to discuss your images. You're going to send them to me. So you can go ahead and get started on those now so you don't have to wait until the last minute to get started. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and post this so you guys can kind of look back and see the lesson from today. All right. No questions. None at all for me. All right, those art conflict books, I really should have those. If you're still working on it, you still can send it in. Before we leave, again, if you did not type in your name, send me a DM with your first and last name so I can give you credit for participating, for being here, for points. And I look forward to seeing you all's pictures of your positive and negative space images. I look forward to seeing them. It is now 11:45. So I will share this with you guys in a post. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you all on Tuesday.